welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be all about what public transport is currently like in central London. Now I've actually already made 3 videos about this topic already. The first video is all about what it's like in the supermarkets, the post office and all around King's Cross. The second video is all about what it is like in central London, where I do a walking tour through places like Oxford Street, Regent Street, Selfridges, Carnaby Street, Soho. And the third video is about what it is like to eat outside in central London, specifically Chinatown. This video is going to go through various methods of public transport. This will include the tube, the train, the taxi and the bus in central London. So I haven't actually been on the tube or the train yet, so I've enlisted a few friends of mine to actually share their experiences. So for those who are a bit like me and they're a bit anxious to go on public transport, I thought this would be really helpful to show actually what it's currently like. Before we get into the video, if you are new here, hello, I'm Shu and I make videos on London lifestyle, food and future travel videos. So if you're enjoying this video so far and you're liking what you're seeing, then consider subscribing for more videos like this and hit that notification bell. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much, and please do give this video a big thumbs up to help support the channel as well. Okay, let's go on to the first mode of transport, the trains. So I asked my friend Carl, you may also know him from Carl Watson, he makes travel documentaries here on YouTube. They are fantastic, give them a watch. I asked him if he could film his journey into central London via the train and actually show things like if there's any signs about, if there's signs on the train, if there's signs on the platform, and just generally what the whole process is, and he delivered. Our journey begins here outside Red Hill train station where, oh, there's already the first sign. As you can see here, the station from outside of central London is actually very well signposted. So there are signs, you know, on the doors, on the train platform. There are distance markers as well, just to remind you to keep your distance from one another. There are signs by the waiting room as well, on the bench. And yeah, I feel like it's a really good job of just letting you know what the rules and regulations are before you're even on the train itself. Now it is still mandatory to wear face coverings / face mask on public transport all throughout the duration of the entire journey, and I believe that also includes being inside the actual train stations and things as well, particularly on the underground.
So this is London Bridge at rush hour. It's 5:30. It's maybe 2 or 3 people per carriage, that's it. So I'm on the train now into London and it's pretty empty. It'll probably get busy as we get into town, but I've been on the train a few times since the sort of lockdown started easing, and most of the time it's been either empty or close to empty. There's only been a few that have been half full, but everyone keeps their distance. There's signs everywhere, hand sanitizer at all the stations. You'll see the staff on the train wiping down like the buttons and things. So it's been fine mostly. It's like with everything, you know, 95% of people are following the rules. So the current government advice in England is that you are able to travel on public transport, but if you can, if it's possible, to try and find alternative routes to travel as well, just to minimise the amount of people that are travelling in and out of London. And there are a few things to consider as well. Number 1 is to travel during off-peak times. Number 2, to consider using less busy routes and routes that require less changes. Number 3, to always have your face mask on you, and preferably also hand sanitizer for the times when you don't have access to water and soap. Number 4, to be mindful of the social distancing measures and to always keep apart by 1 meter if possible, and to also have the necessary precautions as well.
We will shortly be arriving at London Blackfriars. Change here for the Circle and District lines. Exit here for riverboat services from Blackfriars Pier, the South Bank and the Tate Modern. The doors will open automatically at the next station.
I was on the train the other day and I got on and the carriage was empty. And then one person got on and sat in the seat right in front of me. And I was just thinking, what are you doing? How hard is it to get right? That'd be weird in normal times, but yeah, it's been fine. I haven't been on the underground, so I don't know how crowded that gets, and I haven't really travelled in rush hour or anything like that, so I don't know what that's like. But just if you just need to get on the train to go from A to B, and you're not travelling during what might normally be rush hour, it's been fine so far.
I would say that if you are thinking of travelling into central London, to actually look into the regional train lines websites and the individual websites as well, because they'll all have their different rules and regulations, and some train lines may require you to actually have a booking reservation and a booking number in advance of your journey. Some, I think the ones that are more like 20 to 30 minutes into central London may not require that, but it's always good to be safe than sorry. For longer journeys into central London, there's actually no onboard catering available right now. I know sometimes, if for example on Virgin trains, you can get like sandwiches and a cup of tea, and so right now that is not available. So something to bear in mind if you are thinking of travelling a longer journey into London, you may want to bring a packed lunch and some snacks, and I believe that's when you can remove your mask and when it's during food and drink, but otherwise face mask is back on over your mouth and your nose, and do it correctly, don't do a me and put it under your chin. Do make sure that you have your booking reservation ready, and actually sometimes if you book in advance, you actually can get a cheaper journey. They can download your ticket via an app or have a digital ticket and then access it via contactless into London.
If you're worried about it, don't be. At least for now, whilst there's less people travelling, it's been fine.
Now let's move on to the underground. Now I feel like more people are anxious about travelling on the tube, and this was something I was really intrigued about because I haven't been on the tube since March, so I'm really intrigued to see like what it is currently like being underground in London during a pandemic. So my friend Ed actually filmed his journey via train and then onto the tube, and I believe this was in the evening, so typically that's when a lot of Londoners are, you know, travelling back home and it's a little bit more busy, so he was showing his journey.
Please keep your distance. How do I feel about travelling? It is 9:30 at night. I have been babysitting for my brother, whose birthday it was today. It's the 28th of July. I don't actually mind. I try not to touch things. It is obviously very different from what it used to be like in London. I mean, this is like I said, a 9:30 train. And I am going into London. Everyone obviously has to wear one of these bad boys. Make sure the nose is covered too. Tubes, I try and avoid as much as possible, although I am about to go on one in a minute. And I feel like tubes aren't distanced as much. There's no one really regulating tubes. Everyone's kind of facing each other very closely. A lot of people that I've seen on the couple of times I've been on the tube haven't even asked the person next to them and then actually sat next to them, whereas I would never do that. I don't think that's right. You have to keep distance. If it's too busy, you just have to wait for a next tube. Also, I've got a few buses since lockdown's been easing. Same thing. So some bus drivers are really lenient. They're just like, you know, get on. Others have been like, no, there's too many people on this bus, you have to wait, which is obviously frustrating with a reduced timetable anyway, but it's got to be done, in my opinion. It's very interesting times, isn't it? Very interesting, and how people greet each other. Some people elbow, some people fist bump. I've seen people handshaking. I mean, it's not the time to do a handshake. The only thing about these masks are they do get a bit itchy. Like I keep getting a little itch under the nose. I'll show you the tube in a minute. There we go, getting off. That's the thing, you got to touch the buttons as well. Elbow or knuckles. So off the tube, much busier than the trains, always are they. Again, don't feel too bad about it. It's just about being sensible really, I think. But I don't see as much regulation going on as maybe they should be doing. So, which means it's left up to, God, the lighting is terrible. Sure, you're gonna kill me. I can't, maybe I should walk backwards. No. We're leaving it up to people's common sense, which isn't the best thing for us British people, I'm afraid. But we'll see what it's like in the morning, in a rush hour. I'll show you what that's like too. Peace out.
Again, similar to the train, there are hand sanitizer stations available at tube stations. I'm not sure if that's the case for every single tube station, but for this one, there was one. In this clip, there are more people compared to the train journey, but it also seems like everyone, because they're wearing a mask and things as well, and they're trying to keep distance, that it doesn't seem as busy as you typically would find it in a tube station as well. And it looked pretty spaced out. I did actually since speak to Ed, and he was saying that when he was traveling during the peak times in the morning from I think South London into North London, it was about 8 to 9 o'clock, so that's when a lot of people is usually there for rush hour, traveling into work, and he said the tube was pretty much empty and there wasn't a lot of people. So I feel like a lot of people aren't going into central London right now. Something to bear in mind as well, to continue to avoid rush hour, but if you have to travel during rush hour, it doesn't seem like it's super busy into central London. Now, the only mode of transport that I have been on is via taxi, and that was because I'm currently, as you can tell from the change of setting, I've been house sitting this week for my good friend slash life mentor slash business mentor slash client of mine, Kelly, who I actually produce and edit and film videos for her YouTube channel, which I will link down below. So I had to travel via the taxi because I didn't feel very comfortable traveling via the tube, because it required quite a few changes as well to travel here. So I booked via the Bolt app on my phone, and it all arrived very quickly. Had my face mask on ready, and the driver himself was super lovely, so kind, and also just helped me with my luggage. And when I was helping with the suitcase, he already had like gloves on that he separately put on to handle my case. And then when I went inside, there was actually a plastic shield between me and the driver. I could still hear him, but it was just, you know, an extra safety measure as well. And he was also wearing a face mask and also a face shield as well, and I also had my face mask on. And the distance itself, it was actually a much larger, it's like a people carrier, it's like a much bigger taxi than I would normally order, but that was a taxi that arrived, so there was quite a lot of distance between us as well. The journey itself was very smooth, as it usually is, and actually, if anything, it was actually quicker than it normally would be as well, because traveling through London, I believe I got the taxi about 8:50 in the morning. There's usually a little bit of traffic on the roads if I ever had to travel in via taxi, because it was rush hour if you are traveling from an airport or just traveling from one side of town to the other for on a journey, then hopefully that came in handy as well. With the bus, I've got my friend Mew to record her bus journey into central London. It is mandatory to wear face covering on public transport, and based on this clip here, it doesn't look too busy considering that this was on a busy Saturday afternoon and people relatively distanced apart, but there is less room to do so. And of course, if you don't feel comfortable traveling on a busy carriage or busy tube or busy bus, then of course it's okay to also take a step back and just to wait for the next one as well. Especially in London, like I feel like tubes and buses come every few minutes as well, so they are quite frequent. One thing I would note though is that of course these videos were filmed by those of us who are able to have the mobility to travel up escalators and trains and things like that. So I'm not sure what the measures are on the tube or the train or the bus for those who have mobility issues or disabilities, and that's something as well. So I think it's really important to bear in mind as well, and to be considerate of those who may be traveling with mobility issues or disabilities as well, and to make sure that the journey for them is as smooth as possible as it is for us. If there are any specific topics that you'd like me to cover within London, then do let me know in the comments, and it could be something like what a supermarket is currently like in more detail, or what the shopping centres like Westfield is like as well, or anything like that, because I appreciate that if you're not currently here, you know, having some few fancy B-rolls is like nice to look at, but sometimes you want to have more in-depth information as to what it's like on the ground. So if I'm able to do so, then, you know, I'm more than happy to continue making these videos, because oh sorry, very popular tonight, because for me, I'm genuinely intrigued as well, and I imagine it'd be even more interesting for those who aren't able to actually have access to come into town. So yeah, if you would like to see specific videos, then do let me know in the comments below, and the most popular ones I will try and film for you for the next few weeks. A big thank you again to my friends Carl, Ed and Mew for sending me their videos of their trips and their journeys, and for putting in so much effort into the clips as well. I appreciate it so much that they immediately were like, yeah, sure, I'll film it. And it just, yeah, really appreciate it for having such good friends. So thank you so much. If you are watching, you're the best. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I really do hope that you found this useful. If you did, please do give this video a big thumbs up to help support this video and the channel. And if you haven't already and you enjoyed this video, then do consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell for more videos like this, as well as future travel videos and food videos. I hope you're staying safe, I hope you're staying well, and yeah, all my best to you, and thank you so much for your support so far across these videos. And I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon or evening, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.